1800 hours Pakistan Standard Time. Assalamu alaikum. This is Radio Pakistan, the news read by Muhammad Zubair Khan. First, the headlines. Federal budget for fiscal year 2022 and 23 with a total outlay of 9,502 billion rupees has been presented in the National Assembly. Presenting the budgetary proposals in the National Assembly this afternoon, Finance Minister said Prime Minister wants to extend maximum relief to the people, especially the poor, in current difficult times. The government has approved the facility of safe passage through land and air routes for vulnerable Afghans destined for third countries. Foreign Office says Pakistan is reaching out to international community to build a collective response against India's persecution of minorities, especially Muslims. Complete shutdown was observed in Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir today to register protest against derogatory remarks of Bharatiya Janata Party's officials about Prophet Muhammad Rasulullah Khatamun Nabiyyin sallallahu alaihi wasallam. United Nations has warned that unprecedented economic crisis in Sri Lanka can develop into a dire humanitarian crisis. And now the news in detail. The federal budget 2022 and 23 with a total outlay of 9,502 billion rupees has been announced, encompassing measures for sustainable economic growth, industrial and agriculture development, and relief for the poor people. Presenting the budgetary proposals for the next fiscal year in the National Assembly today, Finance Minister Miftah Ismail said 3,950 billion rupees will be spent on debt servicing. He said that a budget of 800 billion rupees has been earmarked for the next year's PSDP. He said 1,523 billion rupees have been set aside for country's defense and 550 billion rupees for civil administration's expenditures. The Finance Minister said 530 billion rupees have been allocated for pension, while 699 billion rupees for targeted subsidies for the benefit of the poor people. He said an amount of 1242 billion rupees has been proposed for grants, which include the grants of Benazir Income Support Program, Baitul Mal, and other departments. The minister said that FBR revenue has been estimated at 7,004 billion rupees for the next fiscal year. The Finance Minister said Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif wants to extend maximum relief to the people, especially the poor, during these difficult times. For this purpose, he said the government has taken several steps to provide subsidy and assistance. Miftah Ismail said our budget philosophy is to enhance agriculture production, especially the edible oil, in order to reduce agricultural imports separately. He said we need to promote industries to bolster exports and earn valuable foreign exchange. This, he said, will help address the issue of balance of payments on permanent basis. The Finance Minister said austerity is the top priority of the present government. He said there will be complete ban on purchase of vehicles, besides a ban on procurement of furniture and other items. The petrol quota of cabinet members and government officials will be reduced by 40%. There will also be ban on foreign tours under government expense, except the important ones. The Finance Minister said a medium-term macroeconomic framework has been prepared to put the economy on the path of development. Miftah Ismail said the GDP will be enhanced from 67 trillion rupees to 78.3 trillion rupees during the next financial year. He said we are trying to reduce inflation by better fiscal and monetary policies. The inflation will be reduced to 11.5% during the next fiscal year. The Finance Minister said the imports, which are expected to be $76 billion during the current fiscal year, will be reduced to $70 billion in the next financial year. The budget envisages federal public sector development program worth 800 billion rupees for the next fiscal year. It has been centered on improvement in sectors such as water resources, transport and communication, energy, higher education, health, science and technology, and balanced regional development. The emphasis of PSTP is also on revival of CPEC and related projects for inter-provincial and regional connectivity, with equal importance to special economic zones to promote trade, industrialization, and create job opportunities. The major thrust in information and communication technology sector, including establishment and operations of special technology zones. Under the PSTP, the government has allocated 44.179 billion rupees, including foreign aid of 1.3 billion rupees, to the Higher Education Commission for implementation of 151 development projects. The allocation indicates an increase of 100% over the last year. An allocation of over 197 billion rupees has been made for 117 power-related projects. The concessional financing agreement for landmark ML1 project is to be finalized in the second quarter of the next fiscal year, and subsequently arrangements will be made for groundbreaking of the project. A comprehensive national action plan for agriculture modernization has been prepared in terms of capacity building, agricultural product process technology extension, fishery, science and technology, aquaculture and aquatic products processing. Earlier, a special meeting of Federal Cabinet was held in Islamabad today with Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif in the chair. The meeting accorded approval to budget proposals for the year 2022-23. Minister for Information and Broadcasting Mariam Aurangzeb has said that the Prime Minister has approved an increase of 15% in the salaries of government employees with the consent of the Cabinet. In a tweet today, she said the Prime Minister rejected the Finance Ministry's proposal of a 10% increase. She said merging of ad hoc allowances into the basic pay has also been approved. This is Radio Pakistan. The government has approved the facility of safe passage under Phase 3 through land and air routes for vulnerable Afghans destined for third countries. In this regard, the Interior Ministry has issued a notification. Under the approved decision by the Federal Cabinet, the vulnerable Afghans will get on-arrival visa facility in Pakistan. The facility is available for all those vulnerable Afghans who will travel to any other country via Pakistan. Foreign Office spokesperson Asim Iftikhar says Pakistan is reaching out to international community to build a collective response against India's persecution of minorities, especially Muslims. In his weekly news briefing in Islamabad today, he called upon India to show moral courage and unequivocally condemn blasphemous remarks made by two senior officials of the ruling BJP party and take visible, demonstrable steps to hold them accountable. To a question regarding India's membership in UN Security Council as permanent representative, the spokesperson said Pakistan has opposed any expansion in the permanent membership of UN Security Council. In Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir, complete shutdown was observed today to register protest against the blasphemous remarks of Indian ruling Bharatiya Janata Party's officials about Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. According to Kashmir Media Service, shops and businesses establishments were closed while traffic was off the road in Srinagar and many other areas of the occupied territory. The traders kept their shops and businesses closed despite threats from Indian Army and police of dire consequences if they observed the shutdown. The occupation authorities imposed curfew in Bhaderwa, Kishtwar and Ramban districts of Jammu region and deployed Indian troops and police personnel in strength across Kashmir Valley to stop people from holding demonstrations against the BJP leader's blasphemous remarks. The authorities snapped internet services in Srinagar city and in several districts of Jammu region. The authorities also locked Jamia Masjid Srinagar and many other main mosques of the territory, disallowing people to offer Jummah prayers. The United Nations has warned that Sri Lanka's unprecedented economic crisis can develop into a dire humanitarian crisis. Talking to newsmen in Geneva today, spokesperson for the United Nations Humanitarian Agency said millions of people are already in need of aid in Sri Lanka and the agency is taking action to address the situation. In the second One-Day International against West Indies in Multan, Pakistan were 133 for 1 in 26 overs a short while ago. Earlier, Pakistan won the toss and opted to bat. Pakistan is leading the three-match series 1-0. And now the weather report. Mainly very hot and dry weather is expected in most plain areas of the country during the next 12 hours. However, rain with wind and thunderstorm in Islamabad, Pothohar region, northeast Punjab, Upper Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, Gilgit-Baltistan and Kashmir. Gusty winds are likely in central and southern Punjab and lower Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. And that is the end of the news. For more news and analysis, log on to our website radio.gov.pk and also watch live video streaming of our bulletins on the link facebook.com/Radio Pakistan News Official.